What's up, people? Welcome to another edition of the New Breed Podcast, the world's best music podcast, talking about everything brutal, new, death, hard, slam, grind, thrash, and core and metal. I am one half of your hosting duo, Jay Horsecow. With me, I have my partner in crime, the notorious TIM. Tim, how's it doing?
Great.
I got to ask you, everybody wants to know, Tim, were you one of the people climbing the greased poles in Philly when they won the championship?
No, I don't like heights.
I need to see Tim Anderson Jr. climbing a grease pole. And joining us once again from the scenic Pacific Northwest, Hunter from the band Drowner. Hunter, thank you for joining us.
Yo, thanks for having me back. It's good to be back.
We are stoked to have you. We are stoked to have you for this conversation, which I'm sure is going to be an interesting one because this is the first time I've ever heard this album. We are going to do a quasi deep dive, defend this album, the third outing from one of arguably the big four of nu metal, Linkin Park's Minutes to Midnight. So, Tim, start us off with some facts. And no, I hated this album is not a fact.
All right. Released May 14th, 2007 through Warner Brothers and Machine Shop, which I have no clue what Machine Shop is. First album not produced by Don Gilmore, instead produced by Rick Rubin and Mike Shinoda. So wait, so Don did the first two then, right?
Yep.
Oh, all right. Well, I have some things I want to talk about that real quick. Mixed by Neil Avron, who also did stuff for Everclear, Newfound Glory, Fall Out Boy, The Used, bunch of people, Disturbed. Mastered by Dave Collins. If you don't know who Dave Collins is and you're a musician, that's crazy. He did like Metallica, Chevelle, Bad Religion, Alice in Chains, most of the Soundgarden records. So that's where you get that nice sound from. Debuted #1 in the U.S. and 15 other countries. So 16 countries debuts at #1. Let's see, 2007, it sells 623,000 copies. Went 5 times platinum. Also certified double platinum in Australia, New Zealand, Ireland, and platinum in Canada, France, Switzerland, and the UK.
You know, I want to ask about that, right? Like these bands, these one-off bands that Linkin Park is probably a bad example, but hey, you know, we went like diamond in like Peru. It's like, it makes you wonder, like these off like Australia's in the middle of nowhere. No offense, Riggs, no offense, David from Life is Peachy, but like, I wonder if they only get like 6 albums a year and they're like, yo, this is the only one we got. We got to just kind of fucking enjoy it. And then everybody goes out and buys it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, I mean, I think in Australia, platinum's like 60K. So
I thought you were going to say like 60 albums. I was going to be like, yeah, that's pretty fucking wild.
I mean, that's like half the people right there. So
yeah,
that's a solid spread, you know?
Yeah, like half of Melbourne buys your album. It's like double platinum. Go on, Tim.
A couple more. Ranked number 154 of 200 in the albums of the decade. Also with a record 5 singles from the record on the radio, which I don't really consider that a record because there's a lot of albums that have had like 5-6 singles. I mean, there's records that every song's a fucking single sometimes. Also, record delayed because of the singer's side projects, which was Fort Minor and Dead by Sunrise. So I don't understand why you would delay a platinum selling band for them two. I mean, not that them two were bad, but like hold off on that, you know?
I kind of think they maybe were getting a little bit. So let's start with the change in sound. So the first 2 albums, there's a heavy electronic presence, highly singable, heavy, but in a good way, heavy in a rock and radio friendly way. Mm-hmm. This one, one of my notes here is, where's the fucking DJ? Right? Like there's very little electronics. I mean, it sounds different. And you know, the thing about Rick Rubin, I listened to a great Rick Rubin interview with on the Timcast with Tim Ferriss. He really is a brilliant guy, but you can hear him in these songs.
Yeah. Well,
100%.
that was going to be my quirk right there. Like the sound wise, recording wise, I don't think it sounds nearly as good as the first 2 records. I don't know why. It just sounds very flat to me. Which with the crew behind the producing of this record and the mixing and stuff, like you would think it would sound huge, but it just sounds really flat for some reason. I don't know if that's what you guys think. Maybe it was my headphones today, but I mean, really flat.
I don't think it sounds flat. Like I think there's like some solid production throughout. Like it's nothing like Meteora, I think, is really the peak for them, where like they had like the perfect storm of like great production, great songwriting, and like still trying out like new things, like feeling fresh. Whereas like This record definitely did go down more the pipeline of like what was popular at the time. Like we in the band chat, we've had so many fucking arguments about this stupid record because of this episode. And we all kind of agree that Given Up is basically just a Rise Against song that Linkin Park wrote. And like it's weird because it also has one of my favorite parts of anything Chester's ever done. Like just his held out scream over that fucking just great riff. I think
Oh,
it
yeah,
just
I know what
sounds
you're talking about.
fantastic. Like that's one of like the peak moments for Chester's vocal capabilities, in my opinion. But like, yeah, I don't know. Like I think the production is solid. I don't think it's like anything crazy compared to what came before it, but like I have no problems with it. It doesn't sound like super flat to me or anything.
Yeah, maybe it was my AirPods, but they usually make stuff sound really good. I don't know.
But I will tell you this though, there is, if you didn't tell me Rick Rubin produced this and then you put this album on, there were some parts where I mean, I don't want to dig too far ahead, but the song "No More Sorrow," the intro to that song is a Metallica riff.
100%.
That is a Metallica, like that would have not been out of place on the Black Album, and just the overall tonality of this album, it's way more a rock LP, way more.
Yeah, to tell you the truth, it's like adult alternative at this point.
Isn't that what Jordan called nu metal?
What, adult alternative?
Yeah, it's not considered nu metal. It's considered adult alternative. I forget what his quote was.
Well, I think there really is a genre called like adult alternative, which would be like
Candlebox,
21 Pilots shit, or maybe I don't know. Maybe I guess Candlebox, but like this record's definitely, it's definitely just there's no nu metal at all in this record.
No.
So I wanted to ask you, Hunter. I mean, was this your first experience with Linkin Park? Was this the album that I know? And here I am. We were just joking earlier about how my age comes up on every fucking episode. But I'm the old guy. Was this like the first experience you had with Linkin Park, and then you went backwards, or how did you fall into this album? And then I want to hear about how you guys yell at each other in the group chat, because I really want to hear some hot opinions.
So I think this is the first time that I really recognized Linkin Park as a band growing up, because this came out when I was like 11, 12, which, hey, make you feel a little bit older right there. But like, yeah, it was like really, really big. What I've done was on the radio all the fucking time. Like I remember seeing the music video for Bleed It Out on like MTV2 or whatever it was at the time. And then like I started like digging back more into like Hybrid Theory era stuff. I remember I got like a mixed CD from one of my like hockey teammates. Like it was his older brother made a bunch of mixed CDs for the whole team, and mine started out with oh shit, which one was it? In the End. So I just got like super into it at that point. But yeah, like this was like specifically Bleed It Out and What I've Done were the things that really like kind of started pushing me more towards that direction to like look into it. I don't think I really dug into it until I was like 14, 15, like when I finally like figured out how to use the internet myself and was pirating a million songs a day, like
oh yeah.
About the family computer, a million viruses, like
right. 6 hours to download a misspelled copy of fucking Jay-Z, that it was just a virus that ate your computer. Yeah.
As soon as I learned the word discography, it was over for everything. Like
oh, you know what? That's a great point. Yeah, as soon as you learn discography, you're like, oh, I gotta have all of them.
Yeah, I can just get all of it.
Why would I not download it? So Tim, were you a Contemporary fan when this first came out?
I was. I mean, shit. When the first record came out, I was what 20, I think. And then I didn't really care for the second record until recently, until I actually started to like acknowledge it was good. But this one, I didn't really listen to ever until the last couple of weeks. Honestly, I'm with you, Jay. I didn't really listen to anything after the first two.
I really liked the first two. I remember hearing the song Transformers, right? What I've Done was the Transformers.
Yeah,
song,
that was the big song on that.
And I was like, okay, not bad. Not really Linkin Park, but not bad. And then I remember listening to this. I heard like 3 songs and I was like, ew, what is this? And never checked it out. I do think some of it is the lack of the DJ for me. Now, there was not the electronic edge, which if you go back to the first album and you go to the remix album and then you go to Meteora, I guess you could have seen this coming, I guess, in hindsight. But yeah, the lack of electronics, and then it was just a rock album. It's just a rock album.
No, I think there's something to that though, is like I was thinking about today where they, did Hybrid Theory, they did Meteora, and then they did the album with Jay-Z. And I think they got like that taste of like pop fame a little bit. And like, really we're just like, well, let's think like longevity. Cause by 2007, 2005, even like nu metal was dying out. Like it just wasn't like, it was a fad at the time. Like a lot of people just didn't care about it in like the mainstream.
It was done at that point, right?
Like, it was a flash in the pan. And assholes like me are trying to bring it back now. So, but like, I don't know. It's so much of this has like weird pop songs. Like the pacing of the record is super odd. Like
yeah, definitely.
Like that's one like sticking point for me, even like as someone who like still very much enjoys this record. Like going from something like Given Up, where you've got like really nice, like cool, heavy part where they're giving you some screams, like kind of calling back to what came before, to Leave Out All the Rest, which is just like the softest song that they have ever put out. Like just absolutely zero edge to it. It's weird. Like it's a very weird choice in terms of pacing.
I would agree. I think the second half of this album, literally, for lack of a better scientific term, falls off a fucking cliff. There was some. I mean, Given Up, good song. Leave Out All the Rest of Me, not the worst song. Like that's a radio song. Bleed It Out works. Shadow of the Day, it's a good song. What I've Done with fucking Transformers, fast forward. Hands Held High, that worked. No More Sorrow, that worked, and then it falls apart. Valentine's Day, In Between in Pieces, like to the point where those last three songs, I was working and I looked away from my phone and I looked back, I'm like, this song has been going on for a long fucking time. And I'm like, oh shit, that was three songs, because they all sounded alike.
Yeah. No, that's definitely valid. Like I mean, I still really enjoy Valentine's Day. Like No More Sorrow is definitely the last like big peak for it, I think, where you get some of that heaviness back. Like it has like a fucking like sick breakdown right in the middle of it. That just
it's
goes
the Metallica intro.
crazy.
Yeah.
It's like a 12/8 intro or something. Like it's got like, some like fucking headbanger grooves. Like it's super out of place in like the best way on this record. Like every time I listen through, I get to Hands Held High and I'm kind of like, I think I might be done. I don't think I actually like this record. Then No More Sorrow, every time I'm like, psych, this is the fucking sickest thing ever.
And you know what, Hunter, I'm looking at my notes here. In Between, not a bad song. This is Mike Shinoda's singing, which is the first time
he sounds great
really
too.
Sings, and he sounds pretty damn good. Like that was an enjoyable song. It's after that everything just goes.
I say honestly, like I wish I would have taken notes, but like even just looking at the track list, I'm like, I don't even fucking remember what In Pieces sounds like right now.
It was like, it got mellower and mellower. So Valentine's Day was a good ballad, and then it got mellow with Shinoda singing, and then it got mellower, and then it got to my notes actually say this is a ultra mellow acoustic sing around the campfire song. The Little Things That Give You Away. That's like. They took it down, 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 down.
Well, I think like one of the weirdest things about this record too, that like, I just like, I can't get past a little bit, is Mike Shinoda is just like not on this record.
I was
like
he's literally
got
just Bleed It
Out
this.
And he's got In Between. Like that's, or whatever one is. In Between. He's got those, and like that's it. Like they just didn't use him, but I mean, apparently he was, producing, which is like something. Like glad he was doing something in the fucking studio.
Yeah, wasn't he with the Executioners at this point? Yeah, he did that side song with the Executioners.
I read, not to cut you off, Jay. I read that he did a lot of the melodies with Chester, and then a little bit of his own vocals. But I think a lot of this record was just him on the production side, and like allowing Chester to actually like shine a little bit, kind of, if you think about it. Because, I mean, let's be honest, his voice was one of a fucking kind.
Yeah, I mean, that's another thing is I think some of Chester's best performances are on this record. Like,
I would
really
agree.
think that
I would
like
agree with that.
he hit such a stride. Like, lyrics weren't fully there for me at times. Like, I think it was, pretty like run of the mill pop rock kind of stuff that he was singing about a lot of the time. But like when he did hit his stride, it was great. Like, again, like, going back to like No More Sorrow, I think he really just like, I can't remember for the fucking life of me the lyrics, but like he just hits a stride both like vocally, where he's just belting everything and he's screaming, he's just hitting all the notes that he needs to, and it's great. Like,
Let me ask you, Hunter, out of all the songs on this album, what is the song that most to you most sounds like the old Linkin Park?
honestly, like none of it. Like, it's the moments in Giving Up and No More Sorrow. Because like what I've done kind of gets there. Like it seems like a half-assed version of what came before it, and like in between they kind of got a little bit of like the electronic drums that are like that sound a bit like Meteora. But beyond that, it was a full departure from what they were doing.
Absolutely.
Which is why I think a lot of people shit on this record.
Yeah, absolutely. That's not what they were expecting. We have talked a lot about fans. Fans wanted Meteora 2.
Yeah.
Right.
Absolutely.
It's like with Hatebreed. I just want to hear Satisfaction version 2. Right.
Yeah.
Stop fucking trying to sing in key, Jamie. I think the closest they get to old Linkin Park, and it's not even really that close, is Given Up. Right.
Yeah.
It's the rock and roll, the pacing. It's the heaviest song on the album, and they actually have a fucking breakdown. They have a breakdown at the end where Chester's yelling, "Put me out of my misery." Also, I learned this is the first Linkin Park album to actually have a parental advisory because he curses in some of the songs.
Did they not swear beforehand?
They didn't swear on album. Nope. The Jay-Z album was their first album to have an advisory, but that's also because they were doing Jay-Z songs. But yes, This was the first album where they actually had the parental advisory, explicit content. Yep.
There you go.
That's
Adult
crazy.
alternative.
Adult alternative.
But I mean, there were some moments. I mean, Bleed It Out. So the other thing I couldn't get over, what's with the fucking clapping intros? There was a clapping intro in Given Up. There's clapping in Bleed It Out. It's like, did Joe Hahn, the turntable guy, did he only have a turntable with a sample of people clapping? He's like, fuck it, guys, that's what I got. We're gonna run with it.
Or did he just like lose power on it one day? It was just like, fuck it, like it's just.
This is the Rick Rubin effect, man.
I do. I definitely would think Rick Rubin had something to do with it. I think so.
I wholeheartedly think the direction of this record was him basically saying we could, make this record as big as the other two, which I mean it was fucking huge. But like the departure.
Was it though?
Oh yeah, I mean yeah.
Was this bigger or just as big or bigger than the last two? Really?
Oh yeah.
I definitely. I mean, like this was a record that you couldn't get away from at the time, especially like at least growing up around this time. Like Linkin Park was just one of the bands that you listened to. If someone didn't listen to Linkin Park, they're fucking crazy.
675K the first week. Yeah, that's big.
Yeah, that's crazy. Like,
you know what? You're right, because Hybrid Theory was 30 million worldwide. Meteora was 27. Minutes to Midnight was 20.
Mm-hmm.
5 times platinum. Meteora was 7 platinum. Hybrid Theory was 12. So 12.75. That's still a hell of a lot over the course of 7 years.
Wait, Hybrid Theory was 12 times platinum.
Hybrid Theory was RIAA 12 times platinum. This is Recording Industry of America.
Wow.
Meteora was 7. Minutes to Midnight was 5. But also you had ARIA. It was so Hybrid Theory ARIA 5 times, BPI 6 times, BVMI 3 times, IFPI plat once, IFPI once, MC 5 times. So there was it was all over the place. Right?
Oh, so this is counting other countries.
The Recording Industry of America, RIAA, was 12 times platinum.
Okay, okay, I got you now.
It sold 10 million in the United States alone.
Jesus.
Fuck.
I mean, yeah, like that's numbers that you can't even. And this is back when it was like $20 a CD. So think about that money.
Yeah,
Fuck
I mean,
hell.
no, it's crazy. Like they genuinely were like a fucking juggernaut of the time, and
Right.
like
You couldn't. You're right. You're term hunter. You couldn't escape it. You're right. You couldn't.
yeah, like I don't know, as much as like everyone wants to shit on this record, which this is now a good time to talk about just the arguments that my band got into over this record. I told them that I was like, I'm gonna go on New Breed and I'm gonna defend this record, and all of them were like, why the fuck are you gonna do that? You're gonna make us all look bad. And I was like, no, it's fine. Like it's a good record. You guys are just stupid. And no joke, they all like that second were just like, fuck you, I'm gonna listen to it right now. And then there was just like paragraph after paragraph in our group chat, and like they were all just like, no, like I don't like it because like it's just not a Linkin Park record. They completely like fucked off from everything they were doing. Like the production's weird, this is weird. I did get my vocalist to admit, Buman, I got him to admit that I almost convinced him that it was a good record. And I think it's less because I'm good at convincing people and more because I'm good at bullying people when I think they're wrong.
You should have said, listen, there's 3 award winners going on a podcast and talking about this record. It's
yeah,
gonna
no
be a
shit.
Good chat.
Hey man, you're speaking to a 2-time champ over here. All
there
right.
You go. There you go. That's fucking hilarious.
We had a fucking heyday with that one. Like that stupid video that we posted.
Oh yeah, that was great, man. As you should though.
Yeah, I mean, like it was funny. Like I even like told my manager at work, and like I was ringing customers up, and he was just like coming up and be like, "You know, Hunter's in a 2-time award-winning band."
Hell yeah.
Did you know? And I was like,
do they let you hand out like little demos and stuff at work?
no, but I definitely am like the fucking asshole that's just like, hey, you should listen to my band. You should check out this band Drowner. They're really cool. Like,
check your bag out when you leave. There's a little CD in there.
I had a super weird moment like a few weeks ago where this kid came in wearing a Loathe hoodie, and I was just like, fuck yeah, dude, like Loathe is sick. He's like 17 maybe. And I was like, if you like that band, you should check out this band Drowner. And he was just like, yeah, dude, like they're fucking sick. I was like, it's like, wait, you know
that
who
conversation went away you weren't expecting.
Yeah, I just like looked at him. I was like, that's my band. And he kind of looked at me. Was like, oh, we both kind of had this moment of like, this is weird, but like pretty fucking cool. Like
I don't blame. I'd be using that all the time. Like, yeah, you like podcasts? There you go.
Yeah, dude. I'm shameless with it. Like everyone makes fun of me, and I'm like, dude,
you have to be. You have to be. Everything I've ever read, I do a professional show where we actually had a social media guy come in because we wanted to pick his brain. Mm-hmm. And he said the biggest part about being successful when you're doing creative content is you need to be your own marketing guy. And you feel kind of dirty and you feel kind of cheesy because you don't want to punish your friends. But at the same time, he said to us, he goes, if nobody does it, who's going to do it? Yeah, if it's not you, who's going to do it? You're going to fucking pay somebody? And it's, yeah.
Hell yeah. Wear your shirts at shows. Fuck that.
Dude, exactly.
Dog,
exactly.
Dude, I'm wearing the unreleased shit right now. So
I like that.
Nice. I'm waiting for I'm waiting to go to a show in Philly and somebody shows up in a New Breed shirt because I'm just gonna be like, interesting. That podcast is. I'm like, that podcast is terrible.
It's terrible.
See me recognize
bad call, my guy.
You guys have terrible takes.
Yeah, man, your vibe is atrocious. Like, get the fuck out of here.
2 fucking old assholes talking about new metal.
Right. The old guys. It's an old guy in the back of this concert. I think he's one of the hosts of New Breed. Should I go punch him in the nuts? The other thing, like I noticed, so when you talked about so Hands Held High, first of all, the snare in that, to me, I'm like, is Ben Franklin crossing the Delaware? Like George Washington crossed the Delaware? It's definitely that Revolutionary War snare, Ben Franklin. Fuck, have another beer, Jay.
What is that song about? Because when I listened to it, I was like, what is this about? Because it goes in like 20 different directions.
No, I don't know.
That's like the one big fucking low point for me on the record. Like it just bores me to fucking tears. Like it feels like
forced.
It just feels like a throwaway Fort Minor song. Like it feels like that was just the one that didn't make the record, and Mike was just like, "Fuck it, we'll just toss it on here. Who's gonna notice?" You know?
Well,
Like,
Yeah.
and here you go, Rick Rubin again. The church organ and military drum beat on Hands Held High were originally used as backdrop to melodic vocals, but Rubin recommended that the band try the opposite approach according to the album booklet. So again, it's like, and apparently they did they did something like 100 songs for this.
What?
50 to 60, they recorded 50 to 60 songs for this
Holy
album.
shit.
And they said, the previous albums took 3 to 6 months. This one took 14. When a band is firing, right, and they're going every 3 to 6 months, they're putting out something and it's on fire, right? As soon as you see that gap, I am convinced it goes one of two ways. It either is a monster release that cements them at where they are, or it's a fucking Travis Schumacher flame out. And we were just talking about Tim. We were talking about who we talking about, Jordan, Def Leppard, right? They bang out High and Dry, they bang out Pyromania, they disappear for a couple of years. The guy loses an arm, and they come back with one of the most successful pop rock records in history. And I'm sure there's other bands which I can't think of right now where they take that giant break and they put out an album. And you're like, Tool. Sorry, Tool fans. They took that giant break and they put out the newest one, and you're like, it's good, but it sounds just like the last album. Like, whoa, where's the advancement here, guys? What are we doing?
Well, I mean,
Maynard's busy crushing grapes. Yeah.
Yeah. Perfect Circle.
Yeah.
13 other bands he's probably did in that range.
Yeah, no shit.
But
Yeah, go on.
See, I just keep going back to the Rubin thing here. Like, I think if they would have put out a record that was similar to the first two, I think it's just as big, maybe bigger. Because when you said the numbers, like, it statistically goes down, like on the graph, it just goes down. So I would like to know what the records after this did. Do you have that in front of you?
Yeah. It's
Oh,
dude, it gets ugly. It gets ugly. So
after this, like, it's just not good.
Well, also the whole 100, right? The whole music industry changes. Now you have downloading, you have file sharing. So Minutes to Midnight was released in 2007. Worldwide, it's moved 20 million copies. The next album was released in 2010. In the US, it was 906,000 copies.
What's that record called?
1,000 Suns.
Okay.
Bad record.
In 2012, they did Living Things, 681. In 2014, they did The Hunting Party, 231. And they did One More Light in 2017 with 270. So, with all that being said, 1,000 Suns went platinum. Living Things went platinum. Hunting Party went platinum. One More Light went gold.
So the platinum status has been there.
They're still moving. They're still moving units. They've still got a fan base.
Yeah, I mean, well, what is the last record? I don't even know what the last record sounds like. Is it anything comparable to this at all?
I have no idea. It's Hunter.
God, if I remember correct, I can't even remember what the last one was. Let me look at the album artwork, see if I can like jog my memory.
Yeah, because I honestly have not listened to anything after this one. Like, I mean, I'm sure I've heard radio singles, and you could tell right away it's Linkin Park because of his voice. But
the last one that I remember listening to was The Hunting Party. That was like when I was like, I just like graduated high school or like around that time. Like it was kind of like a half-assed attempt to like call back to some earlier stuff, but like more like calling back to like Minutes to Midnight, less Meteora and Hybrid Theory, and it like has its moments. I couldn't even fucking tell you a single thing off of One More Light. Straight up, no idea what was going on that. But I mean, like, what is it? Which one was it?
We are definitely some half-ass fans.
Well, no, this is where they fell. This is where they start to fall apart. Yeah.
No, like I think what this record signaled a lot of was, with Rick Rubin stepping in and a lot more like kind of record execs kind of being a part of it and them trying to maintain that platinum status is like second guessing and tweaking and trying to fit whatever was happening at that moment. And, they were really like surviving a lot on the backs of Transformers after this. Like, you know, they did like New Divide for the second one and like a
Mm.
couple other things. But I mean, like they put out Living Things in 2012 and like holy shit, what a dog shit record that was. Like
I'm gonna listen to all these tomorrow.
dude,
Like
like
glance through them.
1,000 Suns is one of the most boring records I've ever heard in my life. I remember like there was one day when I was running a pizza shop and I decided I'm going to listen to all of Linkin Park. Like it's been a while since I've just dug into their shit and like got through Hybrid Theory, was feeling great. Meteor, I was like, fuck yeah, this band rules. Got through like all the remixes with Jay-Z, was like, yeah, this band rocks. Minutes to Midnight, I was like, yeah, this is still good, but you know, like not as good, like especially when like listened to right back to back. And then 1,000 Suns, I fell off a fucking cliff. I literally gave up. I was like, this is fucking garbage.
The pizza started burning.
Yeah, dude, I'm just like
Throw the
sitting there,
flag.
just like by myself, like cutting veggies. I'm like, fuck this, dude. Like, this
I'm
is
like
a bummer.
depressed.
Yeah, it's like I'm already sad just based on my life right now, and this is not helping me whatsoever. And then
You
like
know, you know
Living
what I would
Things
like
is
to know?
poppy and
Oh, I'm
weird.
sorry. Go ahead.
Oh no, you're good. No, I was just gonna say Living Things is like poppy and weird. They did a lot of synth shit. And it was basically just Mike and Chester jerking off, and it's bad.
Oh, it's the first one I'm gonna check out there because I want to see how bad it is. But I wonder, I want to know if there's like a statistic out there, maybe like when Chester passes, I wonder how much more they sold because you know when big musicians
Yeah.
or what
Yeah.
anybody like passes away, like
There's
their
a bump.
catalogs just fucking skyrockets. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So I
there's a
don't
bump.
know.
Yeah.
Maybe if it's streaming at that point, because I don't remember what year he died. I think it was 18, right? 17?
Hold on.
2017.
Yeah.
Actually, I have a weird story around the time of his death. I had like just moved back to Fargo after living in Minneapolis for a while.
Oof.
And I went to this party that like a bunch of my friends from high school were throwing, and I hadn't seen them in like a while. And it was one of my friends, Nick, which if you're listening to this, buddy, I'm sorry that I'm about to expose you. He got like really drunk and he was like the biggest Linkin Park fan. He was just like, I listened to the last record. Chester was so sad. He was telling all of us that it was coming. I saw them in Minneapolis like a few months ago. I could have stopped it. I could have, if we would have just been friends, I would have like helped him. And he's fucking bawling. And I was just like, all right, man.
So
All
he's
right.
like a super fan then.
Oh yeah, dude. Like he's someone who like definitely never fell off. Like he was like fully with them the whole time. Like, you know, I gotta respect that kind of commitment. But like,
Well, yeah, definitely. I mean, it's people just fall in love with artists and stuff. So I mean, shit. I don't think anyone was expecting the passing of him. So
no,
especially the way it happened. So it just makes you. It's just crazy the way that shit happens. But yeah, I mean, the spike, I guess, in probably streaming at that point was probably huge.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
Jake, can you pull up the Spotify numbers of like what's their biggest thing is on there?
Yeah.
I'm curious if it's something off of, if it's not something off the first two records, because it's probably not.
Number one, I actually have it pulled up right now.
Oh, okay.
Number one is In the End, 1.4 billion listens.
Wow. And they got $26.
I was gonna say like they got enough to buy a pizza, right?
Yeah, no shit.
They went to your store and bought pizza.
No, they bought some strings, some picks, and a cable, right?
The only song on their like top 10 most streamed songs that's not on one of the first two or first three records actually is Burn It Down off of Living Things.
Never even heard it.
It's a song, that's for sure.
And if we were to play it right now, the whole fucking podcast would get shut down.
Yeah. Rick Rubin would come through the fucking internet and choke us out.
Yeah, don't you take our 0.00014 cents.
I mean, so this was the first time I actually listened to this album where I actually put a pair of headphones on and I checked it out. I listened to it Sunday night. And I think Hunter nailed it. Like, it's good. If it was anybody but Linkin Park, this would have been a more than serviceable rock album for 2007. They would have ended up on the radio. They would have maybe gotten a hit or two, maybe gotten signed, whatever. But for the band and what they had done previously, right? Their live album went platinum. Fucking live album went platinum. So they were moving serious units. And then they basically said, forget nu metal, forget electronics. We're going to go right into the AOR type radio stuff. All right, well, do your thing.
I mean, they made a fucking grip off of this shit. Like,
Right? Did
Like-
Ruben do the records after this as well?
I don't think so. No. Let me see. 1,000 Suns was, yep, it was Rick Rubin.
Wow. So that
see that.
pretty much makes you think that he's a big part of the, the sound as it went forward as well. Which is,
Yeah, and I will tell you, this one was more of a slow burn. It was released in 2010, but it didn't go platinum until 2017.
Yeah.
So at this point, purchases are slowing down and all that. So,
well, there you go. Platinum in 2017 when he passes.
let's
That's
see.
probably
Who
has
did
something
Living
to do
Things?
with it.
I don't even remember this album. Where Living Things was Rick Rubin again.
Jesus.
Yo, if your team signs the coach, and that ever since the team has the coach, the win totals go down. Well, what season do you like, yo, get this fucking bum out of here? Now, I know like the Birds fans, they'll give him a game. And if they lose one more game than they won last year, it's like, yo, fucking fire this guy. But like, at what point why? I guess that's a question, Hunter. Like for somebody who's in a band, like at no point do you think somebody looked at somebody like the drummer look at the bassist at one point, but like, yo, do you think Rick is the problem? Do you think they even had those conversations, or was it just?
I wonder the same thing because, like, you see a lot of these bands, like, they'll have success early on and then they just kind of like lose it. They just lose whatever spark that they had that really connected with people, and they just never seem to figure it out. Like, they just never seem to recover. Like, I can't think of any examples off the top of my head, but like, I don't know. Like, it's just, I wonder the same thing with a lot of this stuff. Like, maybe they're just like, no, like maybe if we just like try experimenting in like this way or doing this, or like maybe they've just given up and it's just a paycheck, like,
Yeah.
I don't
Well,
know. It's hard to say.
think at a certain point, to your point, if it's just a paycheck, but you still enjoy what you're doing, fuck it. you
Yeah,
know?
honestly.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, but it makes me think of like Tim. I'll give you an example that's relevant. The Fallujah, right? So 3 albums back, the lead singer leaves, and that was like an Endless Dreaming or something like that, which was great. It was a great album. And then they had the guy join the band for with the one with the eye on the cover, and it was fucking terrible. Hunter, Tim and I have fought about this album nonstop because he was like, "No, it's good, it's good." I'm like, "No, it's fucking hot garbage. I don't want to
Which
hear it. It's
record
hot
is this?
garbage." The
Distant Light.
Distant Light by Fallujah. And then the newest album, they change vocalists again. The new guy sounds way more like the old guy. They bring Evan Brewer back to play bass, and it's a fucking monster. So to that point, there are bands that look and say, maybe that experiment wasn't worth it.
Suicide Silence.
Are they still going with him, though? Who's singing for them now? Is it still Eddie?
Yeah. But they put out the record with Ross that flopped. I mean, people hated that record.
Oh, the fans were angry, man. They were angry.
And then they went and put out another deathcore release after, and now everybody loves them again. So I mean, it's
what was
it's
that?
kind of like you
Deftones
take
album?
a Deftones.
Gore was it? The one that everybody just kind of hated. They were like, can we not talk about that?
Yeah, Gore is. There's like 5 good songs on that record. And that's my favorite band, and me saying that. So
Yeah. Gore was also kind of where they lost me a little bit. Like, Ohms was cool. Gore was weird.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Gore was
Ohms
really
is great.
weird.
Yeah, Ohms had some like fucking
Some
sleeper hits
bangers on
there.
that.
Like, I mean, nothing's gonna beat Diamond Eyes for me. Like that's the fucking peak for my money.
Definitely. I mean, in the later albums, yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
I still think the self-titled is great.
Oh
I
my God,
love
yeah.
Self-titled.
Saturday
Yeah.
Night Wrist, even though Chino even admits that, dude, I was whacked out of my mind. I don't remember that album. It was Slapdash. I think there were some real awesome moments on that album.
Honestly, Saturday Night Wrist might be like number like 2 or 3 for me. Like, I thought they fucking like put out some cool shit with that. It was definitely different, and they just, I don't know, they took a more like shoegazy kind of route with everything, and it was really fucking cool.
Yeah, there's
What-
some amazing tracks on that record.
What album was You've Seen the Butcher? Was that Diamond Eyes or was that Koi no Yogan?
That's Diamond Eyes.
Yo, that is one of the best songs they have ever done. Ever, hands fucking down. And the video, I just watched it. It came up on YouTube the other day. I watched it. It's fantastic. Speaking of the Deftones, and we're gonna go back to a call back to I think before we started recording with Hunter. I really want to hear what the next Loathe album sounds like. I really do, because that last album was a monster. And Tim and I have talked about it in a previous episode. I got to see them when they did it in its entirety when they toured the States, and they were really ridiculously tight to the point where I was in the back, kind of in awe, like, man, they sound really good.
Man, Loathe is one of those bands that kind of came out of nowhere for me. Like, I just remember, like, I had heard nothing about them, and then next thing I know, everyone I know is like posting it on their story, just like, holy shit, like, listen to this fucking band. And like, man, like, it's rare that you come across a band where you just immediately, it just like kicks you in the fucking teeth. And
Yep.
It's just like there. And they do such a good job of like going into like softer parts from like just bone crushing heaviness. And like, it's so respectable. Like, I also, the fact that they dropped that record and then after they like followed up with just like a weird like electronic like
remix album,
ambient kind of thing. Yeah, it was like fucking like cool as hell. People were pissed. I loved it.
Oh yeah, I thought that was actually the first album of them I heard, and
No
it
shit.
showed up on some. I think it was a 2021 or 2020 best of list, and I was like, I didn't hear this, and I listened to it. And I went, that's pretty good. And then I went back to the full length, and I was like, yo, band. Funnily enough, Hunter, another band from the UK that did the same thing for me, where they came out of nowhere, and I went, what the shit? Sleep Token. That Sundowning album, I heard that for the first time, and I went, what is this?
Man, I'm gonna be real. I kind of don't get Sleep Token. Like, there's that one song that they have that just has like, I mean, they have a couple like really fucking cool riffs that actually like took me by surprise. I don't know, there's something about them just like doesn't fully connect with me. And I'm sure 5 years from now, I'm gonna listen to it and be like, "Oh no, I was fucking wrong." Like, I was an idiot, but like, now I get it. Like,
I think a lot of people with that band nowadays are starting to have your opinion where they're like, it doesn't really do it for me, because I kind of feel like it's a little formulaic in a sense.
A lot of it for me is like the production is like super, super compressed and just feels like every other like big metal band. And it just like,
that's fair. That's fair.
It just like doesn't quite hit me. I was actually talking about this with Grothy the other day, because we were just kind of like kicking around ideas for like what we're writing next and just like what we want to like take inspiration from like for production. And I was like, we were talking about Sleep Token and we were talking about Harm's Way. I had never actually listened to Posthuman until like this last week. And holy shit, that record is fucking crazy.
Yeah.
But I went back and I listened to Rust because I remember hating it when it came out, and I was right. That's a bad record.
Really? You think
Like,
Rust is bad?
I think the songwriting
Posthuman is better. Posthuman is way
Posthuman's
better.
much better. I think Rust has some solid writing, but it feels too Slipknotty for me to really give it any kind of like proper nod. But the production on that, I don't know what the fuck they did. It is just lifeless to me. Like, it just feels like whoever was mixing it just like sucked all the life out of it.
Who
like
was that? What's his name from Chicago that did that, Jay? Can you look that up?
Who did what? Production
Rust.
for Rust?
Yeah.
Rust.
So
I love how we start talking about a record and we just go into everything else. I love that shit.
This is the best part about the show. So Kurt Ballou did the mixing.
No shit.
Really?
Bo Bright did the mastering.
What?
Andy Nelson engineered it. So that's what, Bricktop?
Yeah, that's
Chicago.
Yeah, Chicago, yeah.
But it doesn't say who produced it.
Probably
Andy Nelson.
Yeah.
Which is
that's
the guy
strange.
And that's the dude from Weekend Nachos.
Yeah.
So there you go.
Man, that bums me out.
It is a bummer because he does great stuff.
Yeah, he's all the shit he did with Code Orange was fantastic. Like,
yeah, you said it perfectly.
Crazy.
You said it perfectly. He doesn't miss. Maybe that's his miss right there.
I guess, yeah, that's a bummer. I'm always talking up Kurt Ballou's mix. That's if I had it my way, I would fucking go record with him in a second. Like,
Who did we just talk to that went to Kurt Ballou?
Yeah,
Tim.
who the fuck was that? We just
It
had
wasn't-
one last week, wasn't it?
Was it Sangmasugabog?
Yeah.
Yes, yes, I thought so. Yeah.
I mean that makes sense. That's a band that should be recording with Kurt Ballou. Like,
yeah, right.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. If there's a guy that's gonna grab their sound and totally go with it, yeah. Random trivia point, Tim, and I know you'll enjoy this. Hunter might. You know who else Rick Rubin produced? God Lives Underwater.
Really?
Which I am like, I never, and as all my fandom, I've never recognized that. Yeah.
Wow.
All right. So we can say with Minutes to Midnight that if you like Linkin Park, you might like this. If you like, so in 2007, at this point, butt rock is already a thing, right?
oh
Yeah,
yeah.
absolutely.
So-
Nickelback is in full force.
Oh
at
yeah,
this
you're
point.
right.
Oh
you're
yeah.
right.
Like they are in their rock star era of Nickelback.
Hell yeah.
Like it is.
I mean,
Can you
Avril's
imagine-
on the tracks at this
Can
point.
you imagine being fucking Chad Kroger? Imagine just for a second, that guy wakes up every morning and he goes, you know what? The internet picks on me. I've been memed to death, but I've made millions of dollars
Dude,
and I
no-
write some good songs. Like, yo,
I wouldn't mind being him.
nope.
No shit. I just saw like a video with him where they were interviewing like the whole band, just being like, so how do you take all this hate? And he's like, think of all the other bands that were around when we were like really hitting our stride. None of them are here now.
Yeah,
We still
exactly.
are.
Exactly.
Fuck all of them.
Yeah.
Thank
I
you
mean,
for the money.
we
Like,
Tim and
laughs
I've had this
all the way
conversation.
to the bank.
They write good songs. Like you can make fun of them and meme them and do whatever you want.
Listen,
They write
Tell
good
me-
songs, man.
tell me you don't hear the intro to Animals and don't want to fucking like mosh your ass off.
Listen,
Like like fucking kicks ass. Like
listen, I'm one of them people that when I hear people like rip on like Limp Bizkit or Nickelback or any of the bands that get all the hate, I'm like, it's jealousy. Like, and most of the people that hate these bands are in bands. You know what
oh
I mean?
yeah.
It's like just
It's
sit back and write a hit, and then you can
Yeah.
talk.
it's a music nerd thing, right? It's like when bands accuse another band of selling out. It's like, yo, you can talk shit on fucking Turnstile all you want for being in a fucking Taco Bell commercial. They're headlining Furnace Fest, and they're making more money now off residuals than most of us will see in a lifetime. So,
Yeah. Good for them.
right?
I mean, they're also like they're making fucking great music. Like Glow On.
It was I
Fantastic
love
record.
that album. I
Like, it was
love that
so
album.
good. Like
They-
I remember like talking about them even like right after the fucking
Time and
Nonstop
Space.
Feeling.
Yeah,
No,
not
no, no,
feeling.
Nonstop
Yeah.
Feeling when that came out. I remember like some old head that we were like on tour with or something like that. He was just like, nah, man, like the world's not gonna remember Turnstile as a hardcore band. And I remember at the time even I was like, man, fuck you. And now I'm like, no, you're 100%
He's right.
100% right.
Like,
They're going to
you
be touring with
nailed it.
311 next month, probably.
Yeah,
You
I
know what
mean, like they're fucking damn near an R&B type band at this point. Like, they're doing weird shit. Like, it's great. I love it. Like, I super love it because they still have like so much like love for hardcore and like still very much exist in that world.
Yes.
Yeah,
I-
not
I-
my
I-
thing, but I respect it.
Dude, I'd go see that with 311.
I'd fucking go see them for the 11.
I was
any day
actually
of the
just
week.
thinking, I was hoping 311 tours this summer because they're one of those you sit on the lawn and you have a bunch of beers and just kind of enjoy what's going on. All right, so we have really gone down the rabbit hole here. Hunter, let's talk about Triner. What do you guys got going on now? You guys writing, recording? What's next up for you guys?
Yeah, big things coming soon and all that. No, we've been doing a lot lately. We finally figured out like live lineup stuff. Like, we were trying to do like a second guitarist, figured out it doesn't work for us. So we have like fully figured out our live set. We actually have a show coming up March 21st at Kelly's Olympian. If you are
Check the
in-
chat too.
Oh. Yeah, we can absolutely talk about that.
All right.
Yeah, so we have a show coming up March 21st at Kelly's Olympian for everyone in the Portland area. super excited about it. We are also writing our full length right now. We kind of
Beautiful.
have like a shit ton of like demos, and it's actually going to be some sort of like a concept record, which I've never done. None of us have ever really done, but we're writing like a full story with like characters and everything. So it may suck, but hopefully it's cool. And we're actually releasing on the anniversary of Holding On to Life a few remixes for Holding On to Life.
That's awesome.
It's just going to be called Decrypted. I'm gonna say Decrypted, and if I'm wrong, bummer. Yeah, like it's just we all decided that we wanted to like do something while we were waiting for Buman to like get lyrics ready and get the story ready, and decided that we really need to bring back like the vibes of the club scenes from like Matrix and like Queen of the Damned and Blade.
Dude, I love it. I love the fucking I unapologetically rock the Fear Factory remix album, even though I feel like cheesy Euro trash whenever I'm listening to it. I don't care. I don't care.
No, that's the fucking vibe we're going for. Like
awesome.
We just want some like fucking like hard like house influence, but like, you know, with distorted guitars and shit. Like
that's awesome.
It's I've been listening to them like a lot since we got them back from Growthy, and they're fucking rad. I sent one of them to Tim. I don't know if you listened to it at all.
Absolutely.
Dude, I'm really excited for that. Like we're also, like I said, like, you know, I was posing with these earlier, dropping some hoodies, dropping some shirts.
I will be purchasing.
The kid. There we go.
Hoodies are my thing, man.
Yeah, hoodies are definitely Tim's thing. I always think of interviewing AJ from Purity, and he's in the middle of Vegas, and Tim's like, yo, why don't you have any hoodies? And he's like, no, it's 112 degrees here all year round, man. Like, what do you think?
Dog, it's the fucking desert. Like, what do you mean?
we still need hoodies in the desert. It's cold as shit in the central air.
It's cold at night. It's cold at night.
Yeah, I mean
go ahead.
To the point we were talking about before too, about you guys getting the number, you know, one record thing and for Red and stuff. It's very, very much. I'm very happy for you guys, because it's that EP, man. Is I know we talked about it before. It is fucking really fantastic, good. Man.
I go back to that. Not to say that I didn't like it. I'm never not surprised that it's one of those things that I consistently go back to, and I'm like I'll flip through my history and I go, I'll just listen to this again because I know I'm going to fucking enjoy it.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, that's and it's the biggest compliment I guess I can give you, because, you know, attention spans being what they are. I'm always looking for what's out this week, what's out now. I'm like, no, I'm going to go back and listen to that again. That was really good. It was really good. I mean, tightly written, well-crafted songs.
You guys have been fucking incredible. Like, it's funny because like every time you guys mention us on the show, like, every time like one of us is just like, oh, they fucking talked about us, like that's cool as shit, like, you know, like we're geeking out over it. Like, I don't know, it's you guys were some of the first that really like reached out and just like put us on, and it's been super cool to like just see people get down to it, like especially since that was like that EP was mostly us just like fucking around. Like we had no idea what we were trying to do, like, but you know, we were just like, we want to write good songs. We want to be like in the nu metal space. And I think that's why I'm so excited about like what we're doing next, because it's a little more focused. Like we feel like we know a little bit more of what we're doing. We're actually writing with our drummer with us the whole time, instead of like him coming in at the last hour. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, like, you know, because he originally was just supposed to be a session drummer for us. Like he was just going to record the tracks for us as a favor, and then he was actually just like, no, fuck it, like this is great, like I'm just in your band now. We're like, all right, awesome, man.
It's crazy that you say like the EP is like you guys fucking around, because some of them tracks, man, are just like, when you think of nu metal right now compared to back then, like them tracks are pretty much like what the new standard is to me, because when I heard that title track, man, I was fucking blown away at that shit, dude.
I think the best way to describe it is it sounds like period perfect nu metal without sounding like a ripoff. You know how like it's a very fine line where you can tip over and you're like, oh, these guys are just ripping off whomever, right? That's who they want to sound like. There's enough there's enough homage there that you get it, but it's still a unique composition in the sense of it's not like, oh my God, it's somebody trying to do Linkin Park in 2022. No, it actually sounds like it could have come out in 1999 and it would have, oh, okay, this is right in the wheelhouse. Okay, great.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, and it's great hearing you guys say that because it's like genuinely what the goal ended up being. Because like, it's so funny to me that Holding On to Life ended up being the song that everyone fucks with so heavy because that one genuinely was written as a joke. Like we wrote an entire alt rock record that is now just like gathering dust in a Dropbox folder somewhere. But like we started getting kind of heavier, and then one day we're like, haha, let's just tune down to drop B or whatever and just like fuck around. And we ended up writing that, and a bunch of people were like super excited as I was showing them, and like we all got really excited, and we're like, actually, like, no, this is something that's like big in all of our influences. Why not be one of the bands to just like say fuck it and do it again? And when I say like we were fucking around, like definitely we were just having fun with it, but also you have to keep in mind that it's all through the lens of like Grothy, our guitarist, who is someone who has vision like fucking crazy. Like he will literally send me handwritten notes when he's at work and can't get to a guitar, and it's like have something tabbed out and be like, play this for me. I want to know if it works. And then like I'll send him like a clip of it. He's like, close enough, but like try this way. And he'll like write a song through me just like as he's like sitting there thinking about it, which
That's
is
fucking sick.
It's fucking crazy. Like I don't know how he operates that way, but like thank God he does, because I do not have the musical talent for that shit. Like,
well, dude, the main riff of Holding On to Life, like the like that shit makes you move, dude.
Yeah.
And I think that's why people gravitate to that, because it's got all the elements of making people's head move. Like, because I'll tell you what, if a song makes me bob my head listening to it, I automatically know that's a fucking hit for me. And that's that song. That's
Same.
that song right there, man.
When you're not paying attention, right, Tim? When you're not like zoned in, and it's playing, and all of a sudden you catch yourself doing this.
Yeah.
That's when you grin and you look at your phone and you're like, "Yo, who is this?"
Mm-hmm.
My phone. Not for nothing, wildly off topic. My phone scared the fuck out of me today. I was listening to God Is War. That he does like ambient, noisy kind of stuff. He toured with Full of Hell and Blood Incantation. I was listening to that, and then Spotify started shuffling when the album ended. And I was like, okay, cool. It picks up fucking Vermin Womb at one point.
Oh,
dude,
Jesus
I literally
Christ.
shot the fuck out of my chair. I was like, oh, I was not, it was all ambient stuff up to that point. I was not expecting Ethan to come howling through my fucking speakers. But Jesus, that'll get your heart rate going. But no, Tim is right. I'm waiting for the Zone Zero Drowner flashback American headline tour, right? American full US tour. That's what we need.
And I think we're waiting for that too. Speaking of Zone Zero, that fucking band, like Flashback's cool too. Like, I remember like a bunch of my friends like were sending me videos like when they played Fargo not too long ago. I guess a few years ago now, but man, fucking Zone Zero was a band where I genuinely like I heard them before we dropped the EP, and my first thought was like, oh shit, someone's already doing exactly what we're doing.
Fuck.
Like man, fucking Ohio kids just like going crazy. I don't know what it is about Ohio, but like they produce some crazy music. Like,
and it's usually all the same fucking kids too.
Right.
Oh, yeah, I mean, look at Nate Snitchler out there fucking joining 12 fucking bands. Like, I remember when that kid was talking to me about how Being as an Ocean was the sickest band ever. Like,
yeah, you're right. Shit. It's the same 10 guys doing 200 Stab Wounds, Sanguisugabog, Bather, Zone Zero. What else is from out there in the middle of Ohio?
In Love.
Mike plays for Orthodox, so he's pulling that stuff.
Yeah, that's right.
Like,
yeah, Mike. Is, which holy shit, what a fucking monster, Mike White. That man.
Yes.
I don't know. It must be like I don't know what it is. He just goes fucking crazy behind the kid. Like
he's a sick fucking kid, man.
Yeah,
dude.
Have you heard a band called Zero Mindset?
Zero Minds. I don't think I have. No.
Go on. You have your Spotify open?
That I do, my friend.
I'm gonna blow your mind right here, because this band reminds me of you guys and Zone Zero and all this stuff. Like, this EP is really fucking good, man. The band's called Zero Mindset. The record's called Saturn. Came out in 2001. Fucking
remember
listen
this.
to that after this. It's
Yeah, it's not
fucking
bad.
incredible, dude.
All right, I'm gonna check that out. Yeah, no, I'm
It's the
always
same
interested.
vein of like you guys, Zone Zero. It's really fucking good, man.
See, I think it's funny, like the comparisons that we get a lot. Like we got a lot of like Perfect Circle for a while, which I
really?
don't hear super like a ton.
No.
Yeah, I don't hear it either.
A lot of people we get the Linkin Park, we get Deftones, we get fucking what else? I don't know. Get some real off color ones that are just like you would never guess. It's always fun to hear like what people hear from us, because I'm just like, dude, we were just straight up ripping off Korn and Linkin Park the whole fucking time. Like,
Hey, but it worked. It worked.
Yeah, you guys do it in your own way, so it's
Right.
good.
again, all credit to Grothy. That man is the fucking genius behind all of it. I don't know how he does it. I don't know what he's eating, but like, thank God he is. Like,
And you guys record the stuff yourself, right?
yeah, everything's all us. The only thing that we didn't do for this record was mastering. That was
Okay.
Mike Somm out here in Portland. Which
Okay.
Shouts out Mike Somm. That man's a fucking beast.
Good shit. Yeah, I can't wait to hear what you guys are doing. Seriously, man.
Yeah.
Because it's, I was telling you, like last year, like I had my favorite EPs, and I was like, yeah, number 2 is the Drowner. Like I just, one
I'm
of
only a
them beat
little
it out for
salty
me. So
about that. Number 2.
What was number 1, Tim?
it was the Void of Vision EP.
That's tough competition.
Which no. I mean, it's not that they have similarities to your stuff. So I mean, it's just
I'm just being a
them
bitch.
songs are great. No. Now believe me, if you look in my last FM, the Drowner record is right there. But like you should check out the Void Division if you never heard it. It's good.
No, I
man.
need to. I'm so bad at like checking out new music. Like I fucking like let's see what I've listened to recently.
Tim listens to more music than any human you'd think possible. So
Yeah.
Fair. I mean, literally all I've listened to is like my playlist of just like random shit that's like mostly like some like local bands back home, fucking Turnover, Citizen, Enter Shikari, the Menzingers. Like,
And you're where are you from again?
I'm from Fargo, North Dakota.
That's right.
Yeah.
Fucking cold too. So too cold.
Oh, man, there's a reason I
perfect.
don't fucking live there anymore, man.
Perfect. Perfect.
Fargo's
And then
got
you
a cool
said
scene,
you went
though,
to
like,
you said you went to Minneapolis after that?
yeah.
What the fuck are you thinking?
I'm thinking it's a bigger city than Fargo.
Let me ask you this real quick. Because me and Jay talked about this before. Is Minneapolis really that cold where they have like underground shopping centers and shit? Like it's so cold, like people shop underground.
Underground? What?
I swear to God, I heard that.
No, you're thinking of
You're thinking of Mall of America?
No, I forget what school it is. There's actually, I think it's a college in Montreal where it's all underground. It's all underground tunnels connect everything. It's too cold to walk above ground. And I think Rochester. There's some schools in Rochester, New York. Maybe it's RPI where it's all connected underground because when it snows outside, you can't get fucking anywhere because it's ridiculous.
Crazy. No,
it's all that lake effect snow. Yeah.
Yeah, I would imagine like further up north, like near the Great Lakes and everything, like that shit gets fucking cold. Like there's a city in Minnesota called International Falls that is like consistently like 30-40 degrees colder than everywhere else. Like it's insane.
My wife was looking for we were looking to move out into the Midwest and we like cold and we like snow.
Mm-hmm.
She found a place. She goes, do you know where Roseau, Minnesota
Minnesota?
and she sends it to me and I'm like, I don't know. And I look it up and I'm like, wait a minute, I got to zoom out. Where the fuck is this? And I zoomed all the way
nowhere,
out.
man.
I called her and I said, do you know what the nearest major metropolitan city is? Like a major metro airport and stuff. She goes, no, I have no idea. I said, Winnipeg. And she goes, what the hell is a Winnipeg? And I'm like, oh.
It's fucking Canada. That's
Damn,
what that
literally,
is.
it's like 20 miles off the Canadian border in Minnesota.
Yeah,
and I had a coworker who's from Minnesota, Minneapolis, St. Paul. And I said, Morgan, what's up in Roseau, Minnesota? And he just laughed and went, snow and hockey players. Because like the USAA men's team, like that's where they train. There was like nothing out there.
That's one of my
Oh.
best friends from like Roseau area, like Thief River Falls, like all that shit. Like
Dude,
there's nothing. There's
it
nothing.
is snow. It's just snow. There's that one weird border crossing where there's no border agent. You literally pick up a payphone. You go to like a phone booth, you pick up a payphone, and you call into Canada and say, "I'm declaring I'm crossing into Canada." Yeah, it's kind of wild.
Wow. Yeah, I don't want to be anywhere near there.
All right, so let's take it home. We want to thank Hunter for coming on again. This has been awesome. We look forward to the next episode, whatever album we'll figure out next to pick apart. We want to thank all of you for tuning in again and listening. Newbreed_podcast, both Twitter and Instagram, newbreedpodcast@gmail.com. Send us your likes, listens, complaints. Find this episode on YouTube. Let us know what you think. Find us bouncing around on r/numetal. So once again, we want to thank everybody for watching, for listening, and tuning in. Until next time, this is the New Breed Podcast saying cheers.